everybody. Welcome to the Author's Porch, where every good conversation starts. We are excited. We have Hey, welcome to the Author's Porch, everybody, where every good conversation happens. We have a fantastic night for you guys on so many different levels. Let me tell you one level. We had a cancellation in the show. My co-host has some things going on. She couldn't be on the show tonight, so everyone send their good vibes and prayers to our author Anastasia Ashley, who can't be with us tonight. So I was left all alone. So I sent out good vibes and prayers to the universe, and that is where Joanne Angel BarryColon came to my rescue. And we are so excited to have somebody of Joanne's caliber on the show tonight, because I never would have guessed or imagined I could get her on the show. But we have her. Joanne, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing amazingly awesome, and I'm so excited to be here. And I'm even more excited to know that you put out this energy with the universe to say to bring someone onto your show, and that you actually thought you couldn't get me on your show.
Yes, because I know we had talked about being on the show before, but that was way in May, and I was thinking, I all my shows were full, and I'm like, I don't have anything until May, but I need Joanne on the show because I've seen the things you've been up to. I've been watching your pod. Yeah, I told you before the show, the only way we're going to get them to be quiet is if we got rid of them, and they're my children, so I
Yeah,
can't.
no, we can't get rid of them.
So I was like, I've been watching your Three Crones and a Woo Woo podcast that you guys are doing. I've been watching you on your TV show. I've been following a little bit of your journey, and I'm like, I don't want to wait till May to get Joanne on the show. And I even told my sister, I said, Melissa, you got to watch the show tonight. I've got Joanne, and trust me, you're going to want to watch this. So I'm super excited because I was like, how am I going to fill the spot? How am I going to fill the spot? And I had a lot of folks reach out to me. But when you did, I was like, it's Joanne. It's Joanne. We're getting her on the show today. So I'm super
I
excited.
feel so honored to know that you've been wishing this out, and there it is. I love it. I love when everything just works itself out. It's just really amazing.
Yes, we had Gail on the show, one of your other co-hosts for Three Crones and a
Yes.
Woo Woo, a couple weeks ago, and now we have you, and now we just need to get Krista, and then we will have all three of the crones on the show, and I will be one happy lady, because you guys
Oh
know
yes.
I'm watching the show almost every single week. I missed last week because I'm in Texas and no power.
Yes.
And this week I missed because now that the power is back up, the world is going crazy, and we're trying to get our bearings back up. So once again, I will watch the replay, because I always do. I have to find out what's going on with the universe from you, which crystal is out there, and then that great advice that Gail gives us. So it's a must watch show.
Yes. So you missed today's show.
I did, yeah. It's been a
I mean,
nightmare.
I'm
I
gonna
haven't.
I'm gonna give you a little tip.
Okay.
When you watch today's show, what you might want to be prepared to give insight on, and this is gonna sound really funny. What color underwear are you wearing?
Okay, so I might want to watch it before I go to bed tonight then.
Yeah, because how that conversation came up was just quite interesting, and it actually took place before the show started, but we thought it was so darn funny we had to share it during the show.
That's funny. Yeah, I might have to take a look and then go watch the show and find out what the reference is for, because I quite often laugh when I listen to you three ladies on your show. But you are so much more than that podcast. So we were talking right before we came on, and if we look at your bio, author, speaker, TV host, not just the podcast that you and Gail and Chris did, but you have your own TV show on television, certified holistic personal trainer. You own your own holistic fitness company, intuitive healer, cosmic energy healer, creator of chakra balance numerology, cosmic energy forecast deck. I mean, wow. You know, so let's talk about your book. It's Healing with Numbers.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I usually have a chance to read the book before I have a guest, but I will read this book afterwards, excuse me, because I never miss a chance to learn about a new book. But I want to talk to you about a number thing because my husband and me quite often see 222 repeating in our lives. So when I heard that you had a book about numbers and you're into numerology, I was like, OMG. Because we've novicely researched this concept. So I want to hear more about your book and about numerology and the concepts.
Yes. Well, just to dive into the 222 that you and your husband constantly do see, did you have a chance to look up what it means?
A little bit, yes. And I don't know if you want me to tell you what we found or if you want to tell me what the expert says it actually is.
That's why I asked. I always like to know what one finds, and then I'll give my insight if it doesn't already match. So, what did you guys find?
So one of the things we found was that it is basically a sign of showing you that you're on the right path. To follow the path that you're on, that you're going where you're supposed to be going.
Exactly. So, what I like to say when clients or anyone, generally speaking, says that they see that number 222, I tell them that it's the universe's way of saying to have faith and know you're exactly where you need to be. But even more importantly, when I view it based on the numbers itself, it's a bunch of twos. So what you're on the right path on is regarding whether it's a relationship or your partnership, professionally or personally. And when you add those numbers up, because there's three twos there, it's the breakdown of the partnership, it's the breakdown of the new foundation, which is the four, and then it's the breakdown of the six, which is what all three twos mean. And six is about how the partnership, again, depending on how this resonates with one, it could be the partnership in reference to the personal relationship or the partnership in reference to the business, how that is healing and how the couple, will use the word, is literally building a new foundation based on the things that they are healing in it. So that's like my big take on the actual number. And in numerology, that particular number is classified as an angel number, as the numbers repeat three times. So it's almost like the angels are coming down, and when someone sees a number, especially if they see it repeatedly, it's basically the angels are like saying to you, okay, no need to worry anymore, because everything is in perfect alignment, and you are definitely on in faith. So trust the faith, trust that everything is going exactly how you need it to, and that it serves your higher self. And the one thing I want to really bring out to everybody is that anytime we are in alignment to something, it's because it's aligning our higher self, not the self who we are right now, but the self who we are becoming. Because sometimes we tend to desire things that may not be in alignment to who we are as a human.
Yeah.
And everything that we're striving for is based on who we are becoming, the higher version of who we are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And my sister is watching. Me and her have my other podcast, Sister Live Show. She's the one co-founder of that, and she says, so different numbers mean different things. She's like, I have to have this book. She quite often says that because she wants me to buy it for her. So yes, Melissa, you will be getting this book because I will be reading this book.
Yes.
So, so tell us about what in this book. Obviously we don't want any spoiler alerts because we all want to read it, but do you explain the meaning of the different numbers within this book, or do you delve down into, go ahead.
Yeah, I explain the meanings. I mean, I go into full detail. I mean, there is a lot of numbers in this book. There's a lot of definition in this book. And everything that I'm explaining is based on my own intuition of what the numbers actually mean, because I literally break it down. like I just did with the 222. So it's not just like it's an angel number. I give you an explanation. I give you the definition to what I feel it means, but then I also advise the reader to recognize, like, when you see this number, like the one thing I always suggest is when you see a number that repeats for yourself, the first thing I like you to do is focus on is, okay, what are you thinking about at the time this number is showing up? Or what comes to mind when the number shows up? And it could be one of those two things, if not both.
Yeah.
And that number appears because it's answering something that you might be thinking about, or it's answering something that you might have thought about. And now here comes the guidance.
Right.
So there's a lot of definitions in this book. Breaks down. In my mind, I think there's probably about maybe 5 or 6 pages in different chapters that speak about the numbers. And then I also share personal numbers of my own, that what they mean for me as well. And I also, again, for the readers, let them know that what did these numbers mean for you, and how to connect with numbers in reference to, let's say, if you saw a license plate. Now, I'm almost sure that on Facebook, as you follow my Facebook page, that you've seen me post these weird numbers that look like license plates, because I'm always seeing numbers on license plates. And for whatever the reasons are, it will be random. Like I'll see that number 222, like a whole day can go by and I'll see all these angel numbers that just pop up and I have to share them. And to me, it's like, when you become more aware and awakened to numerology and numbers, you'll be very surprised on how they start to just pop up everywhere. And it's like, wow, that number I was thinking about the other day. And then it answers the question. So for me, that's why numbers are just so amazingly powerful and also healing.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's always been sequences. Sequences have been something that have popped up here and there, and it's not always the same number, repetitive. Sometimes it's in some weird orders, but it'd be like a 365 or a 732, and I'll see it. Oh, certain things like that. Sequences of numbers have always been very fascinating for me. And so, tell us why a book on numbers? How did you get into this field that you're in?
That is a really good question and a loaded one. Yeah. How did I get into numbers? Actually, I think it started back in like 2006. I had met this one woman whom referred to herself as a numerologist. And when she did numbers, she actually played with an actual deck of cards, like a deck of cards you would see in, let's say, Las Vegas. And she had this whole ritual of different, a layout that she would do. And she'd give you information based on what was going on in your life currently, what's going on in your life in, let's say, 2 weeks ago, and what's going on in your life 2 weeks from now. And she would use each symbol in this deck. And then she actually taught a class, and I was so fascinated by how these cards were like, when she would give me this information, I was like, these cards gave you that? Like, wow. So I was impressed. And because of that, it's like all of a sudden I resonated with numbers. It was like, numbers to me at that point was not numbers anymore. Because again, just to share really quickly in regards to like school, I was the worst when it came to math. I literally had to take tutoring for math in high school. I went every day to school at like 7 a.m. to sit 1 hour before my actual academic classes started to take math tutoring so I can be better at math. And here I am talking about numbers, and I love numbers because it's totally
I still can't do math. Can't do math. Calculator, fingers, all about it.
Exactly. But when we speak about numbers regarding numerology, it's a whole different scenario. It's like, okay, all these different numbers have different meanings and different vibrations and different energy. And when you pair them up in different ways, they all mean different things. And it's like fascinating. So I would sit back and say, theoretically, back in 2007 is when I really first tapped into numerology, and I learned it really, really quickly. And it was like, oh my God. And before I knew it, it was one of those things where I was starting to like, I pulled out the deck of cards that this woman pulled out, and I was starting to give people readings with those. And then what was it, about 2 years ago, on my TV show, my mom, who had crossed over, was
Mm.
talking to me on my show, and I laughed and
Wow.
I'm like, Mom, I'm in the middle of my very first TV show. I cannot have this conversation with you right now. We're gonna have to dismiss this and talk about it later. Because I was
Wow.
actually working with a different deck of cards at the time on my show.
Uh-huh.
And the second show, which was a week later, same conversation. Here I am ready to talk about the numbers on the card. And here she came telling me, what she's telling me. And I'm like, no, Ma, not now. I'm on my TV show again. We're going to have to talk about it later.
She
So
wanted
that,
to be famous, Joanne.
oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, she wanted to be famous, all right. So
Yeah.
that night when I had gotten home, I said, okay, Ma, now that I'm not in front of 1,000 people on my TV show live, now if you'd like to share with me what you mean about me having my own deck of cards.
Yeah.
So she starts to tell me about it, and in my head I'm like, so I need my own deck of cards, and that's where my card deck comes from, which has numbers, chakras, and affirmations all included.
Mhm.
And from that point on, it's like, if I thought I was resonating with numbers beforehand, once I had my own deck of cards in my hand and was starting to actually give readings with those cards, it was like, wow, numbers were like, whew, magic. and
Wow.
and it's been magical since.
So it was like it all came together and it it just started flowing from you at that point. So your TV show, is it all about numbers or is it more holistic, natural type of vibe?
Oh, well, actually, a segment of it is about numbers because I do a cosmic energy. I'll get say forecast in the beginning portion of the show, and
Okay.
then I bring guests on, as you like have me on. I bring guests on as well,
Mm.
and some of the guests come on and they actually will demonstrate their healing work. Some guests come on and they speak about their books. Some guests come on, they speak about whatever it is their entrepreneurship is. So there's a variety of different things that go on my show.
Mhm.
And um, at the end of the show, before the show completely ends, I actually give a reading to each every client that's been on my show, so they get a chance to experience my cards and numbers, and walk away with some insight that they didn't know about, that they weren't aware that they were going to find out on the show.
Yeah, this is very interesting because my husband introduced me to a gentleman um, who used to have a show years and years and years ago on the Spanish channel. Robert Mercado. Have you ever heard of him? Back in the 70s, he was a very, very famous in Mexico. And his whole show was about numerology and it was about, um, what is it? Libra, like you would get your fortune, not your fortune, but I can't think of the
Astrology?
word. Yes, astrology, numerology.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry. It's 8 o'clock at night, and I'm 43 years old. Please forgive me.
Yes, 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 yes. In
So,
fact, in fact, it's really funny because when I introduce myself on my show, my introductory, besides being a certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, and cosmic energy reader, it's also a student of astrology and master of numerology. So I bring those two modalities together, and I do a lot with that on a very different format from, we'll say, the average astrologer. I mean, I'm not going to sit back because, again, I call myself a student of astrology, which gives me permission not to know everything.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
good. That's good.
yeah. Whereas, when I say I'm a master of numerology, that's basically saying I have to know everything.
Hmm.
So there's a difference between the two. Like when some people say to me, well, why do you classify yourself a student of astrology, master of numerology? Well, it allows me not to know everything about astrology because there's a lot to know about astrology, but it also says I'm an expert at numerology, which I do believe I am.
Yeah. So when your show reminds me of him, and he was extremely famous, and he, man, he will live. whoops, well into his 90s, and he was just very, very alive, and he gave live readings, and he was so famous in the Spanish world. So if you can look him up, do, because I tell my husband, I says he is my spirit guide. I love him. I just love him to death. And I'm telling you, like when I'm talking to you and thinking about your show, I'm like, this is Robert Mercado. The same thing. The
You
same
know,
thing. But it's
it's
the
really,
English version.
yeah, it's really funny you say that. Are you familiar with I don't know what is her name? I'm not even sure I know her name, but she's known as the Long Island Psychic. Are you familiar with Long Island Psychics?
No, because funny as it may sound, this is not a world that I'm familiar with. Like this isn't something that I'm familiar with in any way, shape, or form. Just because it's not something that I've even delved into, for lack of better words, but it's been an interest, like because I believe the world, everything in the world is connected.
Yes.
So for me, I'm a lifelong learner of everything. I have my faith, and I say that I am my faith is believing in everything that I feel in my heart. So I'm very interested in learning. So no, I don't know her personally, but it's a world that I'm trying to learn more of for understanding.
Yeah, and she's very similar to the gentleman you were speaking about in regards to Robert. Very similar. And somebody just recently had said to me the same thing about her, where when they speak with me, when they're around my energy, they see me as her. So it's very interesting on how when you speak about Robert, you feel that I guess I am the female version of Robert, and also the I guess the twin of the psychic, Long Island psychic. So it's really interesting that two times in less than a week I've heard this information.
See, you're standing amongst the greats there, Joanne. Now, see the difference with Robert Mercado. One, Spanish speaking, you're English speaking, but the other one, he had these capes. Like he would walk out and he had these capes, and it's funny that I say that because he wore these massive jewels, rings. I mean, people made him these jewels, handmade, like very expensive jewels, just so Robert Mercado would wear them on his show, right?
Nice.
Well, I started wearing big jewelry after watching him. So yeah, like it's crazy how when you talk about numerology and you talk about cosmic energy and how paths cross and how our paths cross, and talking about this now, um, in your TV show. So, are you going to write any other books other than just numerology? Because looking at your bio here, that's like
Yes,
you
yes, it's
have a
very,
lot, a
yeah.
lot in your toolbox there.
Yes, yes. Well, the answer to that question, to be honest about it, prior to before my healing with numbers book, I actually have um four other books that I've written prior to this
Whoa.
one, and I'm also a contributing author to. Oh my God, there's probably um five or six current, and on my kitchen table as we speak, there's probably six submissions waiting to be submitted to other contributing authors. So yeah, there's lots of material that's definitely on its way. And as I said when I wrote my very first book, going back in 2012, didn't think I was going to write a book then. And who knew all this information would come out of me?
Yeah.
So I have absolutely no idea what is going to unfold going forward, but whatever unfolds, unfolds. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I see a lot of things unfolding. Like I can feel the energy that comes from you, and I enjoy your posts. I enjoy the show that I watch of yours. I'm looking forward to catching your TV show. Um, I'm picking up a fourth podcast so here soon. So sometimes that interferes, but I do try to go back and watch replays. but I love the energy that you're putting out there and catching a lot of that. And you also do, we talked just a tiny bit. I know because I replied to one of your posts about fitness, and because I saw a picture and I was like, how do I look like that? Like, I mean, these biceps, I was like, Joanne, what are you doing over there? So if you don't mind, real quick, because you're the owner of Holistic Fitness, can you explain what holistic fitness is?
Sure. Well, to start off with, when we think about the word holistic, I use a W as opposed to just the H, because when we think about whole, it's literally the whole person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, prior to my business being called Holistic Fitness, it was called Fitness or Us. And when I opened up my business, it was all about fitness. It's all about really the body. But 10 years ago, again, my mom, that good old mother, she's always talking to me. All of a sudden I heard her say to me that I needed to start shifting the approach I had with my clients regarding weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard her say, I need to stop using the term losing weight. So I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to use instead? And the key word was releasing weight. So it was no longer about losing weight, it's now
Ah.
about releasing weight. So in the process of that, and that actually is a book. The book is called The Power to Release Weight. And it
Oh.
speaks about the whole psychological concept of why we don't want to lose weight and why it's important to release it. Because when we release the weight, we actually release it and we don't bring it back in. When we lose weight, we sort of look for it again and we'll regain it, which is that vicious cycle. So, with that being said, I don't know how soon afterwards, and of course, dabbing into all of my spiritual modalities, I was starting to bring all of those spiritual modalities into play into my fitness services.
Mm-hmm.
So when I work with my clients, it's not just about having them look good in their body, but it's also about how I can help them really get to that place where they release, and I'm going to use this term, they release issues
Mm-hmm.
from their tissues. And by
Yeah.
releasing the issues from their tissues, they have to be willing to do the spiritual and psychological work to dig deep into wherever those issues are from, whether it's from, and I might get a little deep here, so if the audience gets a little nervous, hang in
They'll
there
be
with
all
me.
right. They'll be all right.
Yeah,
They'll
some
be
of
all right.
our issues don't just stem from this lifetime. Sometimes we bring issues in from a past life, or we hold on to issues from our childhood, and that creates a lot of blockages in our bodies, preventing us from reaching the goals we're looking to reach. Now, the average person, when they work out, their whole thought process is, well, I want to look, I want to be healthier and I want to be able to fit into my jeans or my bathing suit or my wedding dress, whatever their goal is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a short-term process where ideally I think the average person really wants to be healthy and have a healthy life. And that stems
Yeah.
off of everything into their career, into their relationships, into wealth, etc. So it's not just about the body anymore. Now it's really about the mental state, like changing the mindset, changing the patterns, the habits, and the beliefs. And then also connecting with the spiritual person that they are. So, with all that being said, I then started realizing that the former business name Fitness to Us wasn't resonating with me anymore. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, why does that not resonate? I feel like I needed something else. I needed like a boost. And then one day I heard my mother give me this title, and I'm like, oh, so here it is, Holistic Fitness, which now means whereas the holistic personal trainer, which is a name I gave myself because theoretically it's just generally a certified personal trainer, but
Right.
I call myself a holistic personal trainer because what that sort of makes me stand out from all the other trainers out there because I don't just work on the body.
Yeah.
It's body, mind, and spirit, bringing it together
Mm-hmm.
so the client can actually transform and move forward into whatever they're looking to move forward into. And that's where the name came into play, holistic fitness.
Yeah, and that's it's so important. At 6:30 this morning, I was on a call with a gentleman who has a fitness business. I take calls all the time, and I have conversations with people all over the place. And it was a great conversation, don't get me wrong, but the only reason I bring it up is because he asked me, "What is your barrier to getting in shape?" Because I make it no secret that I have barriers to getting into shape. I make it no secret that when I retired in 2017, I let myself go. I'm not giving up on myself. I'm on pause right now, but I'm going to get there. I know that, and I'm also very open with the reasons why I have some issues. So I said I'll be very honest with you. I emotionally eat. I can't stop emotionally eating. It's something that I've done for a very long time, and now that I don't have the military motivating me to get up and go work out, I tend to find myself sitting in front of the computer, just keep it going and going and going. So when you say holistic, you're right. Yes, I can work on my body, but there's things mentally that is stopping me, and spiritually that is stopping me. So holistic with that approach resonates with me so much because I like, I don't know, I'm not a man, so I don't know everything they go through. I just know what I go through as a female, and I suffer from depression and anxiety, and a lot of those things stop me. I mean, I have my health issues, but a lot of those sometimes are more of an excuse that my depression, my anxiety put upon me to stop me. So, somebody who comes in from a holistic standpoint, and I love that you said release the fat because that is such a positive connotation to losing weight versus lose weight, right? Because
Yes,
when you say
yes.
lose weight, that is so negative because people go, "Oh, I have to lose something," because losing is negative, right? We're told from the time we were young, winning is good, losing is bad.
Exactly, exactly. It goes back into the mindset in regards to anything we're looking to do. It's about our mind. It's about the pattern, the habit, the belief, and even how we've programmed ourselves to either believe something or not believe something.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, in reference for you, I mean, I commend you because you know what the reason is to why you're not exercising, where there's a lot of people out there that will bypass that and avoid their knowing and
Yeah.
come up with a bunch of other excuses to why they're not exercising. But you're aware of it, and you basically said that you are emotionally eating.
Yep.
Now with the type of work that I do, I would help the client to understand where it actually stems from,
Hmm.
and then get to the point in asking that client whether or not, or for that matter, you, whether or not you were ready to work on releasing where it stems from. Because
Yep.
again, if the person is not ready to release where it stems from, then they're being honest with themselves. And then there's another way of going about it. Because sometimes, for whatever the reasons are, we're not ready to release something. And if we're not ready to release it, then there's a different way to go about it. So at least you can get back on to, let's say, more movement in your day, even though you may not be ready to release whatever
Hmm.
the primary issue is.
Yeah.
But you get back onto that path of movement and exercise. And then eventually you might very well find yourself in your head saying, you know what, I think I might be ready to release the X, Y, and Z, because it's understanding where it stems from, because it's not on the surface. I mean, we could sit back and I could say, okay, it stems from this point or from there, but there's something deeper to that situation. Like as you mentioned, once you retire from the military, and it was like it was like a roller coaster in regards to where the weight came on. So there was something connected to the military, retirement, and the weight. So
Hmm.
those three things would be the three things that you and I would focus on to helping get into that place. And then asking you again, are you ready to release this?
Right.
And again, you have the option to say, well, yes, I am, and or no, I'm not. And if you're not, then okay, well, we're going to go a different approach and get you to move. Because again, the key component is to get the movement going, get the exercising going. Because again, as you mentioned, you do suffer with depression. And one of the most important components to decrease depression is to increase the endorphins so we feel good.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to increase endorphins to feel good is movement.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's great. And the holistic way of dealing with that is so spot on. And I love that you do that, Joanne, because it's going to help so many people that can't find that way out, and really,
Exactly.
especially with the pandemic going on right now. And I love that you you only mentioned one book in here. So let me ask you real quick. Do you have, I'm looking at your links real quick. I've got holisticfitnessny.com. I've got your YouTube channel and Instagram. But do you have all of your books? Do you have a link? Is your books on your holisticfitnessny.com website?
That's a really good question, and I'm going to laugh. Theoretically speaking, I believe one of them are actually one or two of them are on my website.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not really great at giving links to my books, which is really funny. But yes, three or four. Have to think for a minute. Three of the books are actually available on this self-publishing company called Lulu.com. All
Yep.
my books are available on Amazon. Amazon, what do they call that? Amazon. There you go. Amazon. They're all available on Amazon. But I'm
Okay.
really, really bad in reference to like giving out the links to my book, which I'll send you those as well. It's
Okay.
like I always forget. Oh, there's links to books. I gotta send that too. But I did want to bring back, just to bring us back into the healing with numbers book, just
Mhm.
and attaching it to the holistic fitness process. A lot of what I do with the numbers actually helps in addition to the training when I work with my clients. So, for example, when we think about the personal energy year, which we all have one, that particular number is going to let me know whether or not that client is actually capable. And when I use the word capable, I think that's the wrong word. In their actual personal energy year and the astrology information, it gives me insight on whether or not that person's going to be able to release weight or unfortunately gain weight in that year. And I
Oh.
yeah, and I find that really fascinating because sometimes people struggle wanting to release the weight and they do everything they possibly can to, and then they can't figure out, well, why they're not. And a
Mm.
lot of it really has to do with their personal energy and also what their astrological chart is looking like for that year. And it's something that, I work with my clients, and what makes me stand out from any other trainer out there is because I take all this into account, and I will let the client know that based on their information, well, we're going to have to work really, really hard this year because in your chart, it shows that you have a potential of putting on weight this year. Or this is a great year for you, and you're going to be releasing weight with no problem. So it could go one or the other. But I always have a prescription plan prepared, whichever way it does go.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's nobody in the world who wants to hear, well, you have the potential of putting on weight this year.
Yeah. No, no. I mean, I can't afford it anymore myself. Let's not.
But there's
2021 better
always
not give us any more surprises.
Yeah, but there's always a solution when it comes to the numbers, which is why, when I chose the title Healing with Numbers,
Yeah.
it's exactly that. We can literally heal with numbers, no matter what it is we are healing from. And I think that's really important, the power of numbers and how they help us to heal.
It's truly fascinating. I'm excited to go read the book, which I'm going to make sure that I read it. And now, since my sister mentioned it, I'm going to have to get her a copy. She's
And I just want to make a note so you don't get disappointed. Healing with Numbers is not on Amazon yet because Healing with Numbers has not been birthed.
okay.
It's yeah. Yeah. Right now the manuscript is literally sitting in my editor's hands.
Okay.
And the due date, hopefully, if it all goes well, should be March 12th. So
Okay.
let's keep our fingers crossed that my little baby is ready to come out in March 12th, and will be available and ready to purchase by then. But you'll definitely hear, because I'll be shouting it on the rooftops when it's
Yeah.
available for purchase.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll make sure I keep a lookout on that so that I can get me and her a copy. Because I think that every book that she says she wants, I have to send her a copy. She doesn't let me get away with that. She's my older sister. I don't know how that happened, but there's I'm gonna make sure I tag you in this video afterward because there was a couple questions that came through. If you want to answer any of those, because I won't even pretend that I know anything about numerology or some of the questions that were being asked.
If you
But
want
thank
to
you.
pick, if you want to pick one out right now, we can. If we have time to do it, pick one out, and I'll be more than happy to answer it.
Let me see real quick. Let me see. What'd she say? Oh, Melissa, my sister again. Um, she asked, are numbers scientific or spiritual or both?
Oh, that's a good question. And I would be lying if I told you I actually knew the answer to it, but I'm gonna go intuitively speaking. I think it's a combination of both. Because numbers are definitely scientific, because numbers, there's an explanation behind numbers. And in fact, a real funny thought, which I actually, well, I knew this a while back, but then it was brought to my attention the other day. If you actually take all the numbers from 1 to 9 and add them all up, it adds out to 45, which then adds up to a 9. So it's quite interesting in
Hmm.
reference to that. And when we think about numbers, spiritually speaking, they are definitely spiritual. Definitely spiritual, 100%. I'm going to say, in reference to science, there's got to be some science behind it. I mean, the word numerology is based on science. So yes, the answer to that question is yes. I'm getting, my mom's literally pulling on my hair saying, yes, come on now, that should have been your first answer.
They're
Yes, the
both.
science, and science is, she's
And
literally knocking me and pulling my hair. I'm like, okay, I gotcha. Yes, it's definitely science and
uh,
spiritual.
I love your relationship with your mother. It literally cracks me up.
Oh yeah,
Um,
she cracks me up too sometimes. It's like, okay.
Oh, and Lisa Love said that her barrier is that she has no self motivation, which I think that a lot of people's barrier is self motivation when it comes to getting healthy within their bodies as well.
Well, let her know that if she has no self motivation, she needs to reach out to me, because if there's anyone that's going to motivate her to do anything, I promise you, as my younger sister will say, even though I've never been in the military, I've never been in the Navy, I'm not a veteran, but my younger sister swears that in my past life, I was a drill sergeant.
You know, I can tell. I would definitely guess that about you. I thought that maybe you had served until I found out that you had, and I was like, really? Are you
Yeah, I know.
sure?
I
She's
if
more military than I am, and I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
20
I
years.
think I think if I think I'm gonna have to go and search and find out, speak with one of my healers and see if they can do a little bit of a, like, how do they say that, backing, or research on me, and see, because I have a feeling I've served in my past life. I don't know why.
You're probably a general, just saying.
Interesting enough, as funny as this is, as it sounds, in my past life I was a nun. Yes,
Really?
my past life, I was a nun. Yes, I was. So it's possible that I might have been a general too. Who knows?
Yes. Well, Joanne, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I want to be cognizant of your time. Yeah, I know it's late. You're up there on the East Coast in New York. And I appreciate you dropping everything and coming on and saving me from the dreaded dead air that I was going to have
My
tonight.
pleasure, and I totally understand and can relate when we're in a bind, because I've been there.
Yeah, and I'm excited for your book. Please make sure that you tag me when it is released so that I can get me and my sister a copy. And I hope the rest of y'all people from my hometown do not start putting in the comments that you want me to buy you a copy, because y'all need to buy your own copy. I'm just saying, like
Yeah,
everybody He's always like, CJ, buy me a copy. Buy, you know how many copies of books I buy for people? Y'all need to start buying your own copies. But make sure you tag me so that I can get this out. And I can also put it on the Author's Porch website so that we can promote your book because I think this one's definitely going to be a game changer for a lot of people.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Yes.
And do you have any parting words, any words of wisdom that you'd like to
I guess the
leave
parting
on
words that
our
I like to say,
not guest viewers? Sorry.
yeah, I think the parting words that I like to leave the viewers with is just be open to when you see numbers and be curious of what they mean because every number has a meaning, every number has a vibration, every number has a frequency. And when you can get into numbers like I get into them, they will change your world and they will really help you heal as they've done with me.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure my eyes are open all the time, and then after I have your book, then I'm gonna learn more about what all that meant.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody or anything in particular before we end the show?
Oh, we might be here all night.
I know how that feels.
Yeah. I guess the biggest shout out is just the support that I have for my family, my husband, my daughter, my mom, my dad, everyone that, supports me on my journey because, it is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night and I'm still at my place of business and I do what I love and I love what I do. And I'm able to do that because I have so much support. So shout out to my entire family.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you have that support as well because we're glad to have you in the awesome groups that we're a part of. I want to send a shout out to Dr. Robert Garcia, who is the host of the Success Engineers. So if you're ready to level up your business and go to a whole different level, go over to Success Engineers. If you need a link to that group, make sure you let me or Joanne know. Send a message to us. We will send you the link to that group. Um, you're going to level up your business guaranteed. And if you want to go even further, you can become a part of the Design Your Paycheck because I have designed my paycheck through that group with Dr. Robert Garcia. He's changing the game with some of the techniques and things that he is teaching all of us and how to become business owners. I went from a hobbyist to an actual business owner after joining his group. I want to give a shout out to the Truths We Hide podcast and Miss Annette Wintenberger. Sorry, the Author's Porch is a sponsor for season 2 of her podcast, and I just watched the amazing interview that she had with Rachel Hollis, best-selling author of "Girl, Go Wash Your Face." I think I said the title right. If I got it wrong, everyone's gonna hate me, and I'm sorry. But I watched that interview before I came on here tonight and talk about Girl Crush because they are total bosses doing their thing, and I'm telling you that every author can be just as successful. All they have to do is write the dang on book, and that's exactly what she said in her interview. She said, just go do it, just do it. So that's what we're gonna do. We will see you guys here next week. Joanne, I love your energy. I love what you're doing out there in the universe, and I know this will not be our last conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love your energy too.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next week here on the Author's Porch. Bye, guys.